So if we could either close our eyes or turn our attention inwardly and welcome our experience just as it appears. The sensations within our body, the gentle movement of breath, whatever thoughts are appearing. Notice the effortlessness of presence. The borderlessness, the edgelessness of presence. The peace, the stillness. You don't need to be carried away by whatever thoughts arise. Simply perceive them. And as you perceive them from stillness without pursuit, they dissolve. You, this aware presence, remain. There is nothing that you need to fix. Nothing that you need to attain. Attainment has nothing to do with the reality of presence. Which is not in time. By awareness. I'm not in time. as presence. There is no one, there is no personal self that is doing anything, that is being present or being absent. Presence is as the reality, the undeniable reality, which we refer to as I am. I being this aware knowingness, presence. You hear these words and something resonates within you. A yesness, truth resonates within you. Concerning enlightenment, a few words. In ignorance, meaning under the belief that I am a person, I am body, mind, a separate consciousness existing in time and space. We experience the sense of separation, isolation, the sense of me. And in ignorance, we believe that enlightenment is a personal experience. That if we engage in certain practices, the personal self, me, will become enlightened. But when you look for this me, this separate self, you only find it as beliefs. And feelings. I believe I am this person. I feel I am this person. but you do not actually find a person, a separate person, a separate self. And if you look closer, you will find awareness, that which is hearing these words right now, whatever that is. You will find that which is looking, that which is perceiving. You will find yourself as that which does not come and go. That which neither appears nor disappears. You will be astounded that you are that which you are looking for. That all these years you were looking for peace and happiness out there. And all along, here it is. At the very source of that which is looking. In that moment of understanding, the pursuit of external experiences or objects, as well as the pursuit of internal experiences and states, is shattered. You find yourself as yourself, with yourself, being yourself, knowing yourself, non-objectively, non-phenomenally. This knowingness, which is a direct knowingness, does not depend on any experiences, states, attainments, situations, conditions. You realize that it was never given to you and was never taken away from you. That you are that which you had been looking for. From that moment on, You know the source and the destination as one. The light of knowledge has appeared to you. Which I refer to as enlightenment. And what remains is living this understanding. And in living this understanding, the residual impressions of separation within the feeling state will arise for you on occasions. Via various situations and various circumstances in life. That will provide you an opportunity to restore order by living according to your new understanding. That there is one reality. It's infinite potential, infinite creativity, infinite wisdom. That this one reality shines, manifests itself universally and impersonally, not just as the human experience of perception, sensation, mentation, but as infinite possibilities. And as this understanding blooms within you, the personal impressions in your life will diminish and eventually cease. And you will know yourself as the unperturbable creator and perceiver of all creation and all perception. So as you consider all events in your world, in your body and mind, to be universal, cosmic, impersonal events, and you do not add on the imaginary personal will, the stubborn insistence on my way. As long as you don't keep reassuming the personal self-model, personalizing the impersonal, you will find yourself more and more in tune with the universal realm, the absolute realm of non-dual understanding. And you will find complete absence of opposition. And the end of the sense of limitation. And the confusion. Like the wide open sky. You recover your innate transparency. Like the wide open sky. You are undisturbed by the weather, by the shape and size of the clouds. You perceive the harmony in all realms. And the flow and intimacy. If there are any questions, please make sure you unmute your mic.
Hello, Magda.
Umer. Hello, Umer.
Yes, I have a big question. So, Magda, as you already know by now, that my state of awareness has become second nature. Being present has become extremely easy now. So it's literally impossible to not be in awareness anymore. So I cannot say that I have not been aware as awareness since those 4 days ago. Yet the limited self, which is Homer, still clings on. So in these days with you, I am in a sort of confusion. There is relative peace and awareness and stillness. I no longer feel bored. I may feel a terrible pang of constant stress like how I was feeling today, but only from the perspective of the limited self. By confusion, I mean that everything seems new and strange. Awareness is the undeniable reality that is before everything, in which everything appears, and yet the personal limited self, which is Homer, still clings on. So you already know that. But now I know we discussed in our transcribed talk that I have to come to complete clarity that I'm not Umar but awareness. And even though that has not happened, there's already some relative amount of peace here. I wonder what else do I have to do to completely overcome the belief that I am a separate person, because the root of ignorance, like you said, the root of suffering, is in the belief that I am a separate individual and not awareness.
Yes.
So what can we do here?
Well, once you have investigated the belief that you, meaning the reality of I, is not what you perceive, is not Umer being that which you perceive, among other things. Once you have complete confidence and certainty that I, that which hears these words right now, is not the body-mind instrument. The next phase of your inquiry and your investigation and your contemplation is in allowing, encouraging, this understanding to be an integral part of your life, of your decisions, your actions, and your behavior, and your entire experience. So the application of this understanding, let's say, in your life, how you relate, how you respond, how you listen, how you talk, how you act, how you contemplate decisions that you make, need to now be consonant, or to be informed by your new understanding. The understanding that there is one reality, one consciousness, and that this is the same consciousness that is perceiving across infinite minds, and that the reality of the world and the reality of the minds is consciousness. You need to comprehend that there isn't an external reality to consciousness. In your experience, which is made out of perceptions, bodily sensations, and thoughts, images, memories, your experience is intimate with consciousness. In other words, there's no possibility for any thought or any perception without consciousness. It's not possible to perceive a thought or a bodily sensation without awareness. So to comprehend that, in fact, the reality of thoughts, perceptions, and sensations is awareness. It's part of the understanding. So the understanding is that I refers to awareness, not to that which appears. And that which appears, its reality, is not its appearance. It's not within it. Its reality is consciousness. And then to live according to this understanding. And as you live, you are living, life is going to present you with various situations, conditions, relationships that will seem initially to be a challenge to you, but in fact they're just opportunities for you to apply your understanding about consciousness.
Now you're saying too that this understanding from awareness will be applied in life in every matter. But
Yes, for example,
that's the problem.
to
Because
perceive, first of all, that there are no problems. From consciousness's perspective, there are no problems.
from consciousness perspective, there are no problems.
Yeah, from the perspective of the separate mind, the separate self, there are problems. I need this to be like that, and it's appearing differently. We have a problem. But from the perspective of consciousness, which is your new understanding, the reality of consciousness, that which is real is consciousness. So from the perspective of reality, there are no problems. And from the perspective of reality, there are no personal events. All events are impersonal, and they are the creation of consciousness, and they are perceived by consciousness.
Yeah, but that doesn't make much sense when you don't have the 100% understanding. Like you said, that if you're only 50% there, or you're only 90% there, you will still not be satisfied because you're not at 100% clarity.
Well, then are you clear that when you, that which perceives, that which is hearing these words right now is consciousness and not Umer.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So is it 100% clarity or 95% clarity?
It's 100% clarity because
yeah.
it doesn't change.
Right. Okay. Now, do you have a clarity that the words that you're hearing right now are at zero? First of all, it's not possible for any hearing to occur without consciousness. Are you clear about that?
Yes.
Okay. So are you also clear that the hearing is not separate from consciousness? In other words, there is zero distance between consciousness and the hearing. Are you clear about that?
Zero difference between consciousness and hearing. What does that even mean?
It means that the content of the mind, in this case, I'm talking about hearing, okay, or perceiving, is not separate from consciousness. Its reality is consciousness. A good metaphor for that is when you are in your night dream and you're perceiving a unicorn. The reality of the unicorn is at zero distance from your dream, from your mind, the dreamer's mind. There is no separate unicorn. There is no external reality to a unicorn outside of the dreamer's mind. You understand that?
Yeah, I think you mean to say that everything is a projection of consciousness outwards.
Well, projection. Okay, well, projection. Okay, you could say the way I speak it is that the world, body, mind, meaning this perception right now, okay, is conceived and created and perceived by consciousness. Conceived, created, and perceived by consciousness. It doesn't have an external reality. It's not like consciousness is traveling out in space and suddenly it comes upon something out there. You follow?
I think I'm more clear when you say that everything appears in consciousness.
Okay.
But I don't think I resonate with everything is made out of consciousness.
Everything appears in consciousness, but what is the reality of that which appears? We already have established that consciousness is real, or maybe we haven't. Have we or haven't we? Have we already reached the understanding that consciousness is real?
Yes.
Okay.
It's permanent.
It's real, right? Real, absolute. And I'm going to make a jump here, maybe not, I don't know. But given there is one reality, whatever the reality is of the world, which we're not denying, there is a world. Whatever the reality of the world is the reality of consciousness. So therefore, the world is appearing in consciousness, and its reality is consciousness. Like the unicorn appears in the dreamer's mind, and the reality of the unicorn which appears in the dreamer's mind is the dreamer's mind. It has no reality. The unicorn has no reality outside of the reality of the dreamer's mind, of the dreamer.
So
the dreamer.
You're like saying that consciousness is the matrix which creates everything.
Yes.
In which everything appears.
It conceives, creates, perceives, and destroys. Yes. Yes, that's in the matrix. Okay, that's fine.
So I am the creator of everything.
Not
even
I,
myself.
I consciousness.
Yes, I consciousness.
Is the creator, the conceiver, the creator, and the perceiver. Because if there was any other creator, then we have a dual reality, the reality of consciousness and the duality of that other creator.
Yeah, but
we have no experience of another creator. We don't. I
but
mean,
shouldn't
we
that
believe there is a God out there with the, you know, behind the sky, I don't know, whatever, but that's just a belief. There is no experience of any other reality outside of the reality of consciousness.
but shouldn't that mean that I as consciousness should be in control of what I create?
Should be what? In control?
Yeah.
Yes, of course you are in control. Awareness and consciousness is in control of you. When you are dreaming at night, everything that you're dreaming is your creation. You're controlling. You can dream of whatever you dream. I mean, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but right now, I cannot manifest a piano out of thin air
What do
as
you mean?
consciousness.
You are manifesting a piano in thin air. You are. You never heard of pianos? Hold on. Let me go on Google and you'll find pianos. You can listen to piano right now. You could, but I mean, not during the satsang, but later. You're welcome to go and. Of course, you can manifest a piano. You've already manifested the pianos. You see, you're confusing I with Umer. It's very subtle. And when you say I can sense that you're talking about Umer.
Yeah, but because if I am consciousness, then I should be able to create anything,
You are.
anywhere.
Well,
right here.
Who says that you haven't? You are. You have created, and you are creating, and you are perceiving infinite things, infinite, beyond the human mind. Anyways, that's the understanding that you need to sort of explore, at least be open to it. Be open to it.
Right, and the other thing you said that you will live through that understanding that everything is consciousness. So if nothing changes on the phenomenal level, like you said, every decision you make, there's going to be complete clarity from consciousness. So if nothing changes on the phenomenal level, does that mean that there is not enough clarity?
I didn't say nothing changes on the phenomenal level. What are you talking about? The weather. I mean, right now there are infinite changes, billions of changes happening at the phenomenal level. Changes happening within your body. Changes happening in the temperature. I never said there's nothing changing on the phenomenal level. No, no.
Does that mean that
you look at your night dreams? In your night dreams, you're dreaming all sorts of trips and things and sounds and I don't know. You're dreaming many changing things.
Yeah.
It's not like one picture, you know, one snapshot, and that's it. My dream is one snapshot. The phenomenal realm is not one snapshot. It may be one snapshot at a time, but it's infinite. There are infinite minds and infinite worlds and infinite realms, which refer to the infinite potential of consciousness. Infinite.
No, so does anything change on the body-mind level? Does anything change at all?
Well, don't you remember when you were a 5-year-old, you probably were 4 foot tall?
No, I don't mean natural causes. I mean like conscious changes that you make in your life.
Yeah, you make changes in your life. Yeah, the way you make changes in your life is that there are thoughts that appear to you. There are thoughts that appear to you. And a thought may say, well, I want to do this. And other thoughts would say, no, I need so much money to do that, to do it. I don't have the money. Another thought will say, well, maybe I can borrow some money, whatever. So there are various thoughts that arise to you. And at some point, there is a thought, the deciding thought appears to you. And so the deciding thought will trigger a certain action. And the action that is triggered will result in some change, possibly in your life or in your bank account or in your relationships.
So do you make better decisions after enlightenment?
Well,
Or
the thing to understand about ignorance is that in ignorance, it's like in the ocean there are waves, and I believe I am this wave and this wave, and my whole life is about this wave. I need to make sure that this wave becomes the biggest wave, the most beautiful wave, the most loved wave. And so in ignorance, we are under the impression that reality is this body mind, and that this body mind is the core, the center and the core of our existence. And so as a result of this infection, we act in very destructive ways in our environment, destructive ways sometimes in our own body. So in ignorance, you will find that you are under the influence of the emotions, the negative emotions. You are experiencing the sense of limitation, and this, which means a sense of lack of joy, lack of happiness, lack of freedom, lack of beauty. And you will experience that you are consumed by desire. And the desire and the sense of lack, they come hand in hand. And you're also consumed by fears and anxieties and worries. So when you are under the belief of separation and under the sense of the bubble, I exist in time and space, you don't have access to our the innate wisdom, the innate intelligence, the love and the beauty and the understanding, because it is unavailable to you because of your separation, your isolation.
is there separation when you perceive everything as awareness?
Well, the perceiving as awareness, above all, is the understanding that there is one reality, and that the reality of I is that reality, the reality of awareness, and is my reality and the reality of my experience. So when you are free from the belief that you are Umer, that you are the body mind, then the universal flow and the harmony is no longer hidden from you. You are one with the universal flow, with the universal realm. And your experience is that of peace and harmony. And you don't experience personal events. Rather, you're perceiving everything as being cosmic events. And your actions are inspired by that understanding.
Well, you said that actions are inspired by that understanding. Well, in my case, awareness does not care about anything. It really has no desire, no drive, no motivation, no nothing, no feelings, no emotions, no sensations. It has no care in the world. And that is how I'm perceiving consciousness.
Well, there is a flaw in that, because consciousness is both peace and undisturbability and freedom and emptiness. At the same time, it's infinite creativity. You cannot just take the emptiness aspect of consciousness and ignore the creative aspect of consciousness. In other words, consciousness at peace is an aspect of consciousness. The other aspect of consciousness is the joy and the creativity and the life aspect of consciousness.
When you say the word you mean you as awareness and not the body-mind, right?
Yes, and I'm never speaking to a computer.
Right. So you're trying to convince my awareness or myself as awareness to not ignore its other aspects.
No, I'm not trying to convince, no, it's not like that. Because awareness is in only one business, which is awareness. It's in being and creating. It's in Satchitananda. So I am just answering your questions. So you need to look at who is asking the questions.
Right, because you said it is awareness that is playing the game of ignorance, like a young woman chasing her foolish dreams, something like Francis said.
It doesn't matter what I say. What matters is what is your understanding. I can be saying all sorts of foolish things. So you can disregard what I say and just go to your understanding. So if it is your understanding that I'm trying to convince you of something, I would, from my end, say that's not my experience. And I would invite you to look at the possibility that you are projecting a Magdi out there who's trying to convince Umar of something. It's not my experience that I'm trying to convince. I'm not interested in convince you of anything. I'm just speaking with you as we're having a conversation about reality, about truth. Ignorance, meaning the belief in separation, is a belief. Doesn't speak to any reality. It's a belief. But because the belief is on board, or whenever the belief is on board, we feel that it's true. Like if you believe that there is a lion outside of your door, you are going to be pretty scared about opening the door to step out. So the belief has an impact upon your experience, upon how you perceive, how you feel, what you do. You may never leave the house. You may call the police to come and catch the lion. So your behavior, your perception, your understanding is affected by your belief. So when you investigate the belief that consciousness is a concept, or that the body-mind is that which is real, when you investigate this belief, you will find that it's not true. That the body-mind isn't constantly appearing and disappearing. Is that which appears to you, you being awareness. You will find that it's quite the opposite. that reality is awareness, reality is consciousness. And the world, body, mind is appears to consciousness, but it appears intimately at zero distance from consciousness. And so because we do not deny appearance, we do not deny the world, we do not deny the mind, we do not deny thought, we look into what is the reality of the human experience. We look into what is the reality of perceptions, sensations, and thoughts. And when we look at the reality of the human experience, we find the reality of the human experience is consciousness.
Yeah, but from the perspective of consciousness, it doesn't care about anything, right? It doesn't care about the body-mind aspect.
It neither cares nor doesn't care. A mother has a baby, right? It creates a baby, comes out from her own flesh and her own flesh. So, you know, the world is consciousness' creation. If it didn't care about creating it, it wouldn't create it. Yes, it's complete freedom. Freedom doesn't belong to the mind. Freedom belongs to the source.
No, I mean, how can consciousness be perfect peace if it cared about something? If you care about something, which means you are attached to it, consciousness is not attached to anything.
Not at all. No, not at all. To care does not mean that your happiness depends on that which you care about. I care about the body. I take care of the body, but my happiness doesn't depend on the body. I care about...
Yeah, that is what I mean. Consciousness doesn't care. It doesn't care about the body.
Let me repeat. I care about the body. Consciousness cares about the body. Otherwise, it wouldn't even create it. And I notice that the body needs rest. And I give the body rest. Why? Because I care about the body. But the fact that I care about the body and I give it rest when it needs rest does not mean that my happiness depends on the body. It doesn't mean that. I care about my children, but it doesn't mean that my happiness depends on my children. Whatever happens to them, whatever they do.
I thought you once said that.
So the statement that you are saying, that consciousness cares about the body and therefore it is not free, is a wrong statement. And if you conclude that from that wrong statement, that consciousness therefore does not care about its creation, that would be the wrong conclusion, because you started from the wrong assumption.
But I thought you said that the body takes care of itself. It's just that we make it more complicated. That the mind makes everything more complicated. The body just requires sustenance and rest, which it takes care of itself.
Well, if the body would take care of itself, then it would feed itself. But obviously, the body does not feed itself when it's hungry. Is it your experience that the body feeds itself when it's hungry? No, you feed the body.
So you're saying that it's not that consciousness doesn't care, it's just that consciousness doesn't depend on the happiness of the body-mind.
Absolutely, it doesn't depend on anything. There is a difference between caring, creating, and depending. There's a difference between needing, desiring, and sense of lack, and creating. I like to play, I like to travel, I like to come to satsang, I like to listen to some music, I like to hang out with Tara, go for a walk with her. I like that. But of course, my happiness doesn't depend on that. is a difference, a big difference between celebration, creation, and a sense of lack and dependence and conditions. There are no conditions upon consciousness. This does not mean that consciousness is not infinite creativity out of its own freedom. Like a spring it flows. It flows fresh water, spring water. It flows. But does so freely. The sun,
Right, but let's just suppose that my consciousness, which means I, awareness, stop caring for the body, stop caring for anything in the world. The only thing it cares for is in existence.
then the human bodies will end.
Like that happened with Ramana when he had his sahaja. He stopped feeding himself, he stopped eating, drinking, even cutting his nails. Everything had to be done for him by other people. And it's a common experience when somebody gets a sudden flash of enlightenment. Their consciousness simply doesn't care to, perform the daily bodily actions.
Well, there are different impacts that a glimpse in the absolute has on the body mind. There isn't one formula fits all. There are different impacts, but there is definitely an impact that a glimpse into the absolute, which I refer to as enlightenment, has onto the body mind. In the case of Ramana, it was Ramana's case. In the case of Ramakrishnan, it was Ramakrishna's case. Whatever, it differs.
I mean, even in your case, when in 1976 you had your first glimpse, you said that all your emotions dissolved, and your suffering ceased by 90%. I have those words down on paper, so I can always bring that up.
Oh boy, it's got up on paper. You know, everybody mind is impacted by the insight, by insight. Insight meaning a glimpse into truth. And there isn't just one insight into truth. There are infinite insights into truth, infinite understandings. And every understanding has an impact upon the body mind. Some impacts are more noticeable, and some others are more subtle.
Yeah, so there in Buddhism, the three primary insights are anicca, dukkha, and anatta. I think I am moving in the direction of the anatta, which is the impersonal awareness, as we probably discussed here. But I haven't had the insight into impermanence and suffering. Those are just three. You said there are infinite insights that one can have into consciousness. So can it be ever that one can work towards a particular insight he feels that he should work towards?
You know, I don't teach the Buddhist tradition, so I cannot talk in that language. But whenever you are contemplating truth and investigating your beliefs, your life, you are available for insight because you are interested and you are exploring. When you're exploring, you are in general open to the exploration, to the discovery. So you're not holding on so much to the past. You're not just interested in repeating or following. You're in inquiry, you're in contemplation. So whenever you are in contemplation and in inquiry and in investigation about truth, you are open for insight.
But can it ever be that you have a major insight and you don't even know about it? It just becomes a part of your life.
Yes, it is. It is possible, and is that there can be an insight that is very significant that is unnoticed, and at some point in time, the impact of this insight, the effect of this insight, is then noticeable. A good example, Francis sometimes speaks of when you have a migraine headache and you take some remedy. At some point in time, the migraine headache is no longer there, but you don't even know when there was that ending of the migraine. But definitely you become aware that, oh, I am no longer suffering from the migraine headache. As a metaphor, yes, it is possible that there would be major insights that you're not aware that they have occurred. But then after the fact, you will notice, wow, I don't experience separation anymore, or there is more peace. I used to be upset by this and that, and that's not happening anymore. Yes, it's possible.
And I feel that I need to be in much more pressing and difficult situations to go deeper into awareness, because in those situations, I know that the limited self is going to suffer. So it's best to refer to awareness at all times in those situations.
Well, you don't need to look for those difficult situations. They're going to find you. And once you have the understanding about the reality of consciousness and the impersonal aspect of consciousness, then there will no longer be difficulties, there will be opportunities. The old model would say, oh my goodness, these are difficulties. But the new models has these opportunities.
So, Maggie, the realization that awareness has always been before my birth and has always been that way since, is this a significant understanding?
Yes, the understanding that awareness is not phenomenal, meaning it's not born, it's not a male, female, or whatever. It's not a 20th century event. It's not limited to the northern hemisphere. Yes,
Right, but those are not subtle statements. Those are really powerful statements. This is what I was talking to you about today, that how can these realizations about awareness be subtle? They have to be really in your face, kind of, to leave an impact on consciousness.
Well, awareness
on the path.
Awareness is in your face 24/7. You are this awareness.
And the realizations regarding awareness, They are too subtle.
What is subtle about I am? It's
just is.
Yes, big time, big time.
Well, I know you asked Francis about 100 questions before you had your breakthrough.
I see.
So I too will try to ask you 100 questions once every now and then.
It's important to ask the questions that are your questions, questions that are relevant to you.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. It's very good to be asking the questions that are relevant to you.
Because if I had never asked these questions to you, I would have never been at the stage where I could say with complete clarity that everything appears in awareness.
Yes, the elephant in the forest goes against the tree and rubs its back against the tree. You have to rub your back against the tree. Yes, absolutely. It's very important.
So that will be all for now, Magdi.
Okay, yeah, thank you for your questions. Any questions? Hello, Holger.
Hello, Magdi.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I was 45 minutes late.
Oh.
I had the most amazing nap on the sofa.
Wonderful. That's great.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's nice.
Yes. And then afterwards, I ate a really great soup my wife
beautiful.
made. And then I realized, wait a moment, what day is it today? And I looked on the clock. I was totally gone. I mean, this was so beautiful.
All right. That's nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful. Okay.
Hey, Magdi.
Hello, Esther.
Hi. Since Holgar wasn't here for the meditation, I'm going to be the one to thank you for that meditation today. It was so wonderful. Holgar, you've got something to look forward to. Thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart. That was wonderful. Wonderful words. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, well, if there are no questions, then it's very lovely to be with you. As usual, it's very beautiful, Mina. And Esther. Hello, Esther. And
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Magdi.
Yes, Frank.
Wake up, Frank.
Thank you.
Know me.
Look who's awake.
No sleep, guys.
Hi there.
Okay.
Okay, Frank.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.